we are ready over here on the casting desk, or really like the casting area, I suppose. We'll move to the desk in a moment. Spain versus Brazil.
The pre-casting
right?
standing zone.
That's right, the precast standing zone. That's where we're at. But soon we'll be at the desk. Spain versus Brazil. We're going to go to Dorado, Temple of Anubis. If we need it, Lijiang Tower. But in this matchup, I don't think we're going to get to that third map.
Well, we'll see. I think Soul Live is a big threat, and in their last match, Spain didn't do, at times, the best job of shutting down Surefour, especially on Temple when he was given a lot of room to basically free fire, and they didn't really adapt compositions very quickly to get up onto the high ground where he had a lot of room just to fire on that McCree over the point B on Temple.
Yeah, we'll see if things change a little bit today. There's always an opportunity. It looks like Brazil's starting things off on offense, but we may be missing somebody, so we'll see if we have to get things going again in a minute. But man, I love these maps. I gotta say, like, it's the one of the things when they were first showing off Overwatch, and I was like, wow, these maps are gorgeous. We get to actually play the game in this environment. There's Spanish there that I can't read, but it's okay because it still looks good.
You studied Spanish, though.
Well, I mean, I could like read it out loud, but I wouldn't know what it's saying, you know. I studied Spanish for about 2.5 years, but I never used it. So you forget it if you don't use it, Monte Cristo. Don't worry, my Korean's much better, though.
Korean is getting pretty good, I have to say.
Thank you. You're ready to judge anything at a moment's notice.
That's my job.
That's right. Hey, we're back in the casting standing area now, aren't we?
Yeah, I know you really wanted my opinion on your Korean language abilities right
I appreciate it. As long as it's a complimentary opinion. If you're like, oh, your Korean's terrible, then I wouldn't be as interested in hearing it from you. But we'll see. I'm not planning on starting to speak Korean at this point, though.
Okay, I won't make you.
All right. 감사합니다.
Yeah, so going into this one, I mean, huge match here for Brazil to stay alive in this tournament.
Yeah.
I think very unlikely given what we've seen so far.
I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, Spain, you know, they're not quite a Finland. They're not quite a Sweden or a South Korea, but they still look easily good enough to take down Brazil. Brazil's going to need to show us a lot better play than we saw yesterday. It's possible. Again, you can't read too much into these teams from maybe one match, but you can make a safe, educated guess anyway.
Yeah, especially when we know the quality of the players that's on there. When we look at teams like Spain who have, if not all Overwatch pros, players that are very experienced in other FPS games who are coming in, and they have been proving themselves really on DPS heroes, on high mechanical, or heroes with a high mechanical ceiling.
Right.
And we've been seeing that from Team Spain, and they look pretty cohesive as well.
Yeah. So it looks like we're just going to restart the map, get the players back in there, or get the players in there to begin with, and then we can get things started on Dorado. Yep, should be fun. You excited about the Lumerica power plant, the new one, starting up again?
I'm really, really excited that Dorado's infrastructure, electric infrastructure, is improving over time.
Me too. You know, the thing is that it looks like kind of an older neighborhood. I'm not sure the wiring really requires such a modern, huge power plant. But, you know, the payload's got to get there sometime. Looks like we're back in the game, and everybody's here this time. That's good. So Spain versus Brazil, starting things off once again on Dorado. Probably not going to see that Torbjorn, at least not until Korea plays later, maybe. But
you know, I really appreciate that Lumerica is really keeping in the architectural tradition of Mexico with the stepped pyramid.
We actually need more of that in today's world.
I agree.
Wouldn't it be awesome?
I agree.
I think that's great.
Really showing a lot of respect there for the heritage.
I think I'm going to quit casting and become an architect. No, that's a terrible idea. We don't want buildings falling over all the time.
Well, taking a look at the first defense here. Brazil not going to be running anything too surprising. Pretty standard 2-2-2 composition so far.
Yep, pretty much. And Spain will be swapping things out as they get going as well, you'd imagine. Harry Hook on that Tracer, though. And this is one of the nice things about Harry Hook is he has the ability to play these hit scan DPS. He's, you know, of course, known for his support, but he's very versatile in his role.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. So they are going to go for the Pharah and the Winston here. So a lot of attack angles they can go for. Harry Hook should be looking to get a flank on around the side, but so going to be running Bromas on the Diva.
Yeah,
no,
that's
this
right.
is a highly mobile composition, and it comes down to Soul Live here on the McCree to actually hit these shots and pluck them out of the air.
Well, I like this. I mean, right away, they force Brazil back. They kind of break that defense just by coming at them from a lot of angles you don't normally see, and it's working so far. Pescanova firing a lot of rockets into the back lines.
Yeah, Harry Hook picked off early, so they're going to need to wait for him to get back in, but they're going to try and get back onto the Ana immediately.
And Insanity's taken out by Pescanova, and the push continues. Getting to the back lines a little bit more, and Brazil having a hard time stopping Spain right now.
Yeah, just charging in off of that, too. They know the Ana's dead, so a lot of the heals have gone away, and that means that Reinhardt can just go in instantaneously. Next stage, gonna use that ice block.
He's kind of lucky he survived there, man. I thought he was dead for sure, but he made it out. Pescanova trying to back off. Gets the heal from the Mercy, and here's where the defense should really begin from Brazil. They're getting near that Earth Shatter with the Reinhardt. They can try. There's the Blizzard, and so how's Spain going to respond to this? Looks like they just back off for the moment, more or less.
Yeah, Neptuno actually falling right there. The Blizzard combined with the Deadeye from the McCree, at least providing a big zone, but there we go. There's the Res coming on through. They're going to keep fighting.
Yeah, they brought Winghaven back up again, and that looks like it's a little bit too much for Brazil to handle, and even as this Winston comes in, I think we're going to see Spain keep pushing forward. Yep, there goes Kaio on the Reinhardt, and that's going to be point A taken by Spain.
Yeah, you really didn't.
Oh, that was brutal. Oh, man. Poor Reinhardt.
You really didn't want to use the Earth Shatter right there because there was no follow-up damage. There was no really any more CC there either to push forward onto the cart. And so using that ability, not the best coming on through. And now we just see Harry Hook absolutely harassing them inside the bank here on Dorado.
Kind of brave to run up into the face of a McCree like that, but he's getting away with it, so why stop?
But what he's doing is he's delaying their position on the high ground. Okay,
well, there you go. That's why you don't do that.
But he bought them so much time, Doa. So because they were distracted by the Tracer on the flank, they weren't able to get a fast position onto the high ground here, which means that the cart is also already almost pushed all the way around that corner before they can put down any pressure onto the objective whatsoever.
Very true, yeah. Well, they throw the Diva up there and use the ult immediately, and that scatters Brazil from the high ground, and that's going to maybe help Spain get up for a little bit better push. But at the same time, Solive coming from the back, and he's really been the player on Brazil that we've seen the most from so far, getting 2 kills off of that Deadeye, and for the moment anyway, they're holding the payload. Yeah,
they're committing to playing around him as well. Harry Hook gonna take the last hit right there, but they're committing to playing around him as well. That time falling back with the nano boost, getting the charged up Deadeye, and just cleaning up the fight. So even though they were a bit late onto the high ground, and there are a lot of heroes on the side of Spain that can get up there, the Pharah, the Diva, the Winston, they were able to drop down, pick up the cart, and make it so it couldn't keep moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I love what Spain's doing with this. This is just a comp that's designed to jump up on the high ground and take away all those defensive advantages that you see teams try to take on Dorado a lot of the times. And it's working well. Pescanova has that barrage ready to go. And we'll see what they use. They've got a lot of ultimates available to finish off this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, next stage just left on the high ground alone. And the mobility of the Spain composition, able just to take over that area instantaneously. Spain simply can't respond fast enough to when they leap onto the high ground. Pescanova try and clean this up too. Everybody off the cart now as they move forward, and they're getting very close to capping that second point.
Yeah, it gets to Ana, and it just seems like there's a little bit too much for Brazil to handle. I mean, when you have when you have the Tracer, you have the McCree now, you've got the Diva flying up in your face, you've got Pharah rockets coming in. It's a lot to worry about from a lot of different sides, and it's a bit too much for Brazil.
Yeah, Harry Hook also going to be moving over to the McCree now. And wow, they're just sticking with him on the hit scan. We know that Harry Hook, he has played hit scan heroes on Envy, and it's a strategy that they like to flex him into, sometimes with single support, even though he's primarily a Lucio player. But this is an adaptation that we're seeing from Spain today. They weren't so concerned with having Harry Hook yesterday on these long-range hit scan heroes, but now maybe a bit of an adjustment here, and that's what they're going to go for, moving Neptuno to the Lucio instead.
Yeah, sound barrier coming in, but the Blizzard right there for Brazil, so they've stalled this push out for the moment anyway. We'll see if Spain can keep it going, dodging the charge right there. Harry Hook firing away, takes out next stage. There's a big Earth Shatter there. Can Brazil capitalize? Looks like they can. Solive with 2, but wait for the res. There's 4 brought up immediately by Line Pro, and that's what you have the Mercy round for immediately, though the Graviton Surge comes in, but it doesn't look like it's enough to stop Spain, and this push is going to continue for a little while longer.
Yeah, even though they got the Graviton Surge, and there's the barrage immediately afterwards. Even though they got the Graviton Surge there in the end after the res, not able to actually deal any damage afterwards, so just kind of riding it out, even through the Biotic Grenade, and able to coalesce once again around the payload and just continue to push.
That's the thing, man. Nexage trying to go for this last-ditch effort defense, and the spawn point for the defensive team is really close here, so they can pile on here pretty consistently. Spain getting pushed back for the moment. Another Blizzard comes down from Nexage. It seems like he has that one on a 5-second cooldown, and it looks like Spain's going to need to back off for a moment. They've almost got it. I mean, if the match ends here, which they've got 2 minutes left, it probably won't. Even if they can only push it this far, they might as well have 3 points.
Yeah, it's all about the time bank at this point. How much can you get? Because on a true payload map, it's not like you have to cap it on a hybrid map, so you...
Yeah.
I would say time bank is more important here because it's easier just to keep everything rolling even through overtime. You can get quite a big distance as long as you have at least a tiny amount of time bank left over. So.
Well, it's going back now, but here comes Spain. Time for the Deadeye. We'll see what he can get with it. Takes out Edu. Gonna come in and see if he can grab a little bit more. Wow, gets one on Insanity's Harry Hook. Really doing awesome on this McCree. 2 already. Pescanova grabs one for himself, and with that sound barrier, that's an easy cleanup on Team Brazil. They're gonna finish Dorado right here.
Yeah, Harry Hook finds the flank at the end, and he wins the McCree duel very easily, and that cleans up everybody running out of spawn, so they will push forward and actually pick up all 3 points here on the first map of Dorado. 85 to 42 eliminations in favor of Spain right now, so a strong, at least initial push, and we'll see how far Brazil will be able to go here once we switch up the sides.
Yeah, and speaking of switching things up, I like the changes that we saw from Spain. You know, again, moving Harry Hook from the support to a more DPS role for today, and it's teams like Spain that have that versatility, I think, that really have an advantage in the World Cup in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like you say, the versatility is really key. It's fun to see Bromas, who we know on Dignitas more as of a McCree or a hitscan DPS player, and they're just juggling that McCree around the team right now. Right. We've seen it from Bromas, we've seen it from Neptuno, now we're seeing it from Harry Hook, so they're able to use their champion pools in a fluid manner to adjust to the situation. And that's the kind of depth that you're going to need to go far at the Overwatch World Cup.
Do you think they really need that many power plants? I mean, if every Ziggurat is a power plant, that's a lot of power plants for this tiny village, isn't it?
I do think it's a bit overkill on the power plants right now. But maybe they're creating an energy industry in the area, Doa, so that they can ship it to other parts. Just use the infrastructure to move that power to other parts of the country.
Export some energy. Maybe they have like Energon cubes, like in Transformers or something. You just put them on a truck that turns into a robot, Monte Cristo, the best kind of truck.
I wish there were real trucks like that.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
Would you ride around in a truck that turned into a robot?
No, I think that with all the moving parts, it might get quite dangerous.
Well, hopefully they'd work that out before they had human beings ride in it. Yeah. Well, we'll see what Spain can do on defense here. Brazil running the Hanzo on Soul Live. We saw him play well with it yesterday. See if they can get a little bit more done here. Firing onto the high ground, and looks like Spain's going to take that defense a little bit farther back this time.
Yeah, Sonic Arrow going to show them that nobody's really up there, though, so they can make a more aggressive push right off the bat. Of course, you don't expect teams to be actually defending before you hit the arch right here. Brazil,
yeah,
going with a tank-heavy setup this time with the Hanzo back there to see if they can get some picks, as well as to slowly burn down that Reinhardt shield. Harry Hook be on the McCree once again, and
yeah, well, Flaws on the Roadhog gets slept as Winghaven comes in for a couple of hits here. Soul Live on the second level looking for a kill, maybe with a scatter arrow. Doesn't get the Junkrat like he was trying to, but that was close, man. Pescanova got very low there. Either way, 90% for Soul Live. Almost has that Dragon Strike ready to go, and that could make the difference here. Into the hallway, and we'll see what it gets. Doesn't look like it's going to get too much. Just Kaio falling to that one.
Pescanova does die, though, and you have to be careful in those kind of situations when you're playing Junkrat, because you need to get somewhat close if you want to spam up into that doorway, and it gives the Hanzo some good sight lines on you to actually pick up that kill, and Errant Arrow can certainly make you have a bad day. But now there's the sound barrier going down and the Graviton Surge.
Well, the Graviton Surge not really followed up on, but Spain may have enough for the defense anyways. Winghaven drops the Earth Shatter, takes out Kaio, and he's going to keep going here. And so Spain nearly losing that point A, but they'll hold it for now. It was a pretty good first push for Brazil, honestly.
Yeah, it was, but LinePro coming in with the sound barrier at exactly the right time, just nullified the attack, gave them a chance to survive the initial burst of damage, push back out towards the payload. They're going to fall back right now and see if they can get a good angle here for the Deadeye. Not going to commit all the way to the high ground. Solive, very low, gets taken out.
And nearly escaped, but not quite. Either way, there's a Graviton Surge going down for Spain, trying to stop this payload right here, right now. And looks like they'll be able to. That sound barrier may be a bit ill-advised from Brazil.
Also, Spain, relatively large commitment right there. You're going to build up the Deadeye pretty fast again, but after the Graviton Surge went down, and they had already gotten the initial pick onto the Genji, probably didn't need to commit that ultimate. Would be more useful here just to make sure that they can't get onto the cart quickly again and try and zone them off the objective.
Yeah. All right, well, Earth Shatter comes on as Winghaven, gets in there from behind, gets slept before he can complete the charge, though, and he's on his own a little bit. The team comes up, and now everybody runs from the tire. Pescanova gets 2 with that, actually, and Spain continuing to hold. They've almost got the payload pushed back through the point A checkpoint.
So what happened right there was Winghaven got charged by the enemy Reinhardt into the back line, but he had the nano boost from Neptuno on him. So basically Reinhardt delivered the enemy Reinhardt with nano boost into his own back line, and he cleaned that one up pretty fast, Noah.
Mistakes were made. Next stage coming in with the Zarya now. He's got a decent amount of charge and nearly has it. They're going to actually send in the Genji with the Dragon Blade. Solive looking for a couple, goes towards Harry Hook, gets low. The Graviton Surge going to hold him though. And Spain still coming out of this fight with the most skills. Bromas really going big on that Zarya at the moment.
They committed a lot there to the Dragon Blade and the Nano Boost. They still have 3 ults to work with, however, on the side of Brazil, but couldn't actually find any of the necessary kills, so Spain going to defend rather easily, even though the big ult commitment came through. Spain still has a sound barrier for the next push, so they should be able to neutralize Brazil's next attack, which, see if they can get a flank off here. Flaws on the Roadhog.
And he's got his ult up too, so they can go for something like a Graviton Surge into the whole hog if they can find Spain grouped up. We'll see what they can do. There's the Graviton Surge, and Pescanova gonna pop the Riptire. We'll see if he can find anybody with it. Go towards the next stage. He gets the kill there. Spain continuing to hold. This has turned into kind of a weird situation, actually. You don't normally see the payload stop right here.
Yeah, well, they will at least get a pick there. Let's see Pescanova falling to Insanities, so they are somewhat dealing with this Junkrat, even though they don't have any of the backline dive that you may typically associate with getting a Junkrat killed in the early stages of a fight.
Yeah.
Try and go in right now.
Flaws has a nano boost on him. Yeah, he's going to use that whole hog. Doesn't get a whole lot with it, though. Misses the hook on the follow-up, and now the Graviton Surge comes in for Spain. They're going to try with the Earth Shatter as well, and Winghaven gets the pin on the next stage. Couple kills for Brazil, but overall Spain still holding pretty well.
Spain's communication has been pretty good throughout this map. Every time they see an offensive play coming in from Brazil or a commitment of ultimates, they're pulling back pretty far to help deal with that. So even though, again, 2 ultimates committed to engage the fight, there's not any good targets because Spain will just pull away from the payload and then re-engage with their own crowd control, like the Graviton Surge or the Earth Shatter, onto the cart once again. And so Brazil, they just can't get the initial pickoffs they need to get a prolonged push going.
All right, well, sound barrier for Spain as they send the Riptire in yet again, and another couple for Pescanova. I gotta say, this Junkrat has been so instrumental in their ability to hold the point right here specifically.
Well, we have seen a lot of Junkrat in the past on the first point of Dorado. Typically, you wouldn't use it on the second point, however, where there is a little bit more maneuverability, and you're not talking about just that single arch choke coming into market.
You've still got some narrow chokes, so if you can have your teammates control some of the other ones, you can get away with it. I'm surprised Spain got away with it with as long as they did, but finally Brazil getting the payload going. Nice hook onto Neptuno, though, but no kill for Flaws. They're going to send Reinhardt in with a nano boost, but he gets knocked down immediately. Winghaven getting the nano boost for Spain as he charges in.
Nice.
There's a kill on the Pescanova, and he's going to pop the wall. Oh, he goes down. Didn't have a whole lot of health when he used that ult, and he paid for it. Spain holds again.
Yeah, looked at least initially good there for Brazil, but their backline had already been decimated. And so the Roadhog, the only one remaining. Now the zoning Deadeye coming through with only 10 seconds left.
Manages to take out Edu over the top of the Reinhardt shield, and Brazil really can't afford that, man. They need the Lucio, and he was so close to the sound barrier too. That may have helped. Harry Hook gets slept. He will get taken out. There's a Riptire coming in again, and that may buy enough time for overtime to expire. Next stage trying to stay as close to the point as he can, but it's not going to work. And looks like Spain's going to take this one.
Yeah, they will end it 3-1 in the end. So they do give up the first point, but still a convincing victory for Spain.
Yeah.
As we anticipated coming back into this match.
Yeah, and so while we wait for that next map to get loaded up, let's learn a little bit more about Team Brazil.
I just got to know Team Brazil, and it's full of huge personalities. They brought so much to the table in the way of energy and positivity, but let's see if that's going to carry them to victory today.
Ser o capitão do time do Brasil na Copa de Overwatch é algo de muita responsabilidade.
É uma honra representar todos os brasileiros, né? E acredito que todo mundo do time vai fazer o melhor de si para mostrar um pouco da forma de jogar brasileira.
Os jogadores que eu escolhi para o time do Brasil foram o Soul Live, que é um excelente jogador de ataque, um DPS, e o Insanities, que joga como suporte, porque eram as funções que a gente precisava no time.
O tipo de estilo de jogo que o pessoal pode esperar da gente, acho que é um estilo agressivo. O pessoal do Brasil gosta muito de jogar bem agressivo, e é o que a gente vai tentar fazer, tentar sempre tomar iniciativa para ganhar as teamfights. O ponto principal que vai indicar se a gente vai ganhar ou perder um jogo, eu acho que vai ser nós jogarmos em conjunto. Eu acho que no começo a gente ainda estava muito separado, e agora que a gente está jogando mais, a gente está encaixando melhor as jogadas, e acho que com isso, se a gente conseguir ajeitar isso, acho que a gente tem bastante chance de ganhar.
If Team Brazil is going to win this, they're going to have to overcome their lack of experience. A lot of the teams feature professional players, but Team Brazil certainly has the heart.
O suporte dos fãs no Brasil tem sido incrível. Eu agradeço demais, de coração, o apoio que vocês têm dado a mim e ao resto do time. O engajamento é absurdo a ponto de todo mundo no mundo ter notado o quão apaixonados os brasileiros são, e eu e o time agradecemos. Com os fãs nos apoiando, o time do Brasil pode fazer de tudo.
All right, well, that's Team Brazil, and they've got the support of the fans at least, but they're going to need to bring a little bit more from the team itself if they want to have a chance against Spain as we move into Temple of Anubis, our second map in this best of 3.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to bring out. At least, I think with flaws, we saw some improved Roadhog play. That's a hero that is often quite good on Temple of Anubis, particularly on point B if you're on offense, because getting one of those initial picks can actually create that snowball that you need to efficiently take the point when the spawn point for the defense is so close. So yeah, maybe a bit of a bright spot right there for Brazil, and something that they can work with. They will be on offense first here to start things off, and there is some Hearthstone.
Yeah, well, we all have some Hearthstone there, although I'm not a big Shaman fan. How about that?
Oh, I'm the Shaman player.
I know,
I'm the guy with the golden Shaman.
You like Shaman a lot. I'm more of a warrior player, really. Love that control warrior, man.
It's nice to know that sometime in the far future that they're still playing Hearthstone on tablets.
Yeah, and that guy just started the game. He's only got basic cards too. So. Well, check this out. A little bit interesting defense from Spain, man, because they've got Pescanova on the Junkrat again, but they've got this Mercy as well. So they're actually going to run solo healer here, just a single Mercy, and try to defend with the damage and the res.
That's actually pretty optimistic. Usually when you see single supports, especially teams like Envy, they'll be running heroes that can self-heal to some degree, like a soldier, who's sort of an off-healer, or providing the Roadhog or Mei, but we're not really seeing that here.
Yeah.
Tavik does like to play, and we've seen it many times now, this defensive Junkrat on Anubis.
Kyle goes down already, and I was about to say, it's really a lot on Soul Live here. He needs to look for those picks on the Mercy, but now that they know the Widowmaker is there, Line Pro can just kind of hang out on the side, dodge behind the pillars when he needs to, and it might be a bit difficult for Brazil. They really need to either be aggressive or get a pick from Soul Live, but Harry Hook is just ready for him on that McCree.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's going to be the trick here, is that Soul Live, I think, has been better when he can actually get into the mix and affect things. His best games, I think, in this tournament have been on the Genji so far. and relying on him to make a pick and the rest of his team to get down and dirty.
All right,
I think it's going to have a lot of effect, Doa.
Yeah, nano boost used. Neptuno, though, going into the back line trying to stop this push, but it's looking pretty good for Brazil so far. Oh, I spoke too soon. Pescanova with a couple kills. Maybe Spain can still hold this. There's the big res coming in from LinePro. LinePro does go down himself, but it might just barely be enough. Looks like SoulLive, though, has something to say about that. He can get the kills, but he can't cap the point like that.
Yeah, he's going to come back up and see if he can pick one up.
Shot.
Nice shot as Pescanova jumps through the air, trying to get into the backside of the point, but it's not going to be enough. And they still have a Reinhardt with the McCree back there. Plenty of protection offered so that Harry Hook can work SoulLive down, but he is getting healed up by the Ana.
Yeah, that's right. Spain maintaining just that single healer, just sticking with LinePro. Meanwhile, Kyle tries to get in the back. They pair that with the Graviton Surge, and man, that worked well. Flaws coming in on the Reinhardt. That's a pretty clean sweep for Brazil.
Yeah, excellent combo there from Brazil. Only a few members of Spain remaining on the point, so they are going to cap, but they currently don't have an ultimate. Edu about to get the sound barrier back up. They can make an attack here, but Bromas has enough with that Graviton Surge. He should be able to neutralize this push.
Yeah. SoulLive looking for picks here. Brazil pops that sound barrier, trying to get in. They're going to get caught in the Graviton Surge. Winghaven going to charge through, but not get any kills quite yet. SoulLive takes out Bromas. Winghaven goes down, and Brazil putting together a really strong push here on point B. Spain's going to need to dig deep to defend this one. Harry Hook coming in with a kill. Kaio has to back away, looking for that McCree, and with the flashbang down, he should be able to get it. Neptuno, though, coming in and picking one up on the Reaper. Looks like Brazil may be able to just barely, Spain may be able to just barely hold this one.
Yeah, as they stream in,
Goodbye.
On that capture, Brazil used the sound barrier very early on before the Graviton Surge or any ultimates had actually come out from Spain. So it was not so hard for Spain just to wait out the overshield on that ability and then respond with some counterplay. So they do stabilize onto the point.
Yeah. It was a successful push for Brazil, though. They got one tick out of the 3. So with point B on Anubis, I think for your first push, you can kind of be happy with that.
Yeah, Spain has switched up to something a little bit more normal here, though, as Harry Hook going to head over onto the Ana.
Well, maintaining that single Mercy on point B is pretty tough. Neptuno has that Death Blossom. He's going to drop in with it. Gets 3. Winghaven picks up another one, and that's going to be nearly a team kill. If Kyle goes down, it will be. So there it is, a clean team kill for Spain. And it doesn't get much easier than that, does it?
No, absolutely not. They did also force Brazil to use that Graviton Surge to basically no effect, as everybody was pretty much dead by the time that the ability finished with its crowd control. So now they're going to be able to have to push up again without any kind of Zarya ultimate to work with here.
All right, attempted Earthshatter there from Winghaven as Spain actually goes on the offensive-defensive play.
They really shouldn't have been out that far.
I was going to say, that's a little bit ambitious, as now Brazil has a good opportunity. Kaio chasing down the Lucio here, gets the kill on the LinePro, and if he takes out this Ana, which he probably will, yeah, Harry Hook going down, I think Spain may be in a little bit of trouble here.
Well, they managed to clean it up thanks to Neptuno on the Reaper diving through the point, but that was a huge risk for Spain to take, going down into a 5v6 based on an overextension when Brazil had a lot of ultimates to work with. So
yeah, I mean, they're lucky they didn't just lose half the team right there. Taking a look at Neptuno, been doing pretty well on that Reaper, and now with the Death Blossom built up again, we can maybe see a play similar to what we saw earlier in that defense. In fact, I think that's exactly what we're going to see. Bromas does have the Graviton Surge available if he wants to use it too.
I mean, they have a way to get this Reaper off the top right now. There we go. Finally going to realize they're going to take a different approach, not overcommit into the central entrance.
Hard to dislodge him, though.
They have a Winston who can get up there and at least harass him a little bit, but he's not going to make that attempt just yet.
And the tricky thing is that if you jump up there as Winston, he's always going to be inside your shield. But there we go. They wait for the Graviton Surge. Sound barrier does go down, I believe, for Brazil. No, not quite yet. Neptuno, though, not even needing his Death Blossom to take this team out. SoulLive only getting 1 before he goes down, and looks like that's going to be another easy team kill for Spain.
Yeah, absolutely, Doa. And Neptuno doesn't have to commit to a Death Blossom.
That's a big deal.
They get the Nano Boost back up right now, so many tools for Spain to work with over the next 2 minutes. Brazil has 4 ults of their own. They have to be able to actually deal with the sound barrier from LinePro. You can throw several offensive ults just to have them all countered by a sound barrier.
Well, the nice thing for Brazil now is they've got all their ults up aside from the support one, so they can give it a try here. Neptuno, though, getting that Death Blossom off with the Nano Boost, gets 2 immediately. And again, it's just not even going to be a question. Brazil taken down before they really even reach the point.
And not only that, but ults committed that time, Doa.
Yep.
Next stage pulling out, but now we have just the sound barrier left. But again, that's all Spain needs to deal with the attack from Brazil. Minute and a half remaining. We'll take a look at a little bit of a replay right here.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
another Beyblade. What can you say?
Yeah,
We're used to it by now.
It's just solid. Somehow, some way, Neptuno just keeps finding a method to get into the back lines of Brazil.
Brazil's Graviton surges have not been good so far in this game. They haven't ever really had that follow-up damage except for 1 or 2 times.
Spain used the sound barrier there to try to stay alive. Kyle with his Primal Rage trying to make a difference on this Winston. Can he get the knockoffs? Not quite. Pushes Winghaven back to spawn, and Brazil just trying to get some time on the point, but they're not really giving it. Romas able to make a difference for his team, and Neptuno coming in with the cleanup. And it just seems like Spain is unbreakable here on point B.
Well, especially with the way Brazil is playing. Edu committed that sound barrier very, very late in that fight, and he only managed to get 2 of his teammates, himself and Next Stage, with that overshield. So there was nobody even around to take advantage of the sound barrier that was used.
Oh dear, speaking of ultimates, there's a Graviton Surge. Neptuno, though, not living long enough to Death Blossom this time. Soulive comes in with the Dragon Blade. Is this the opportunity they've been looking for? It might be. Soulive and Kaio picking up quite a few with their ultimates, and now they're finally going to get a bit of time on this point. As soon as they can dislodge the Winston from Team Spain, Pescanova staying alive for quite a while, finally going down. But that gives enough time for Spain to get a couple respawns here. Soulive with the Nano Boost needs to get some kills here. Gets Harry Hook, looking for a little bit more. Trying to find one on Neptuno, pulls out the Dragon Blade. He's got like no health right now. How is he going to make this work? Answer, he can't. Brazil still on the point though for the moment, but Pescanova switching to this Winston at the last minute is making a big difference. Next Stage comes in though. He's got the sound barrier. Brazil still pushing forward. They haven't gotten the second tick yet. Another sound barrier comes in for Spain now as they try to stabilize. Winghaven over on the Diva. Spain going all out to try to hold this point as we go into overtime now, and it looks like they finally got it.
And yes, Spain is going to win the match over Brazil, Doa, but that was some pretty sloppy play at the end. It's great to push out of that point on Anubis when you only have a few seconds remaining, but there was still about 30 seconds left on the clock, and even after they got the big Graviton Surge, they couldn't actually finish off the kills. It put them in a bit of a perilous situation there.
Yeah, I would say so. So we will see if Spain on offense.
Yeah, we'll see how they
come
do.
Back in, and it's 2 points. And I mean, if we look at it so far, it looks like head-to-head. Well, I mean, that kind of says it all, right? I wish we had kills on that one, but damage done quite a bit more, actually, for Brazil, interestingly enough. Huh.
Yeah,
all right.
That's an interesting statistic. I think that has actually been reversed.
Oh yeah,
there,
I think that's swapped. I was going to be kind of surprised there. Yeah.
We're taking a look at the stats right now, and actually that 58K is
so pretend
over
that's the
on
other way around.
Spanish side.
Yes.
So, all right. Moment of confusion. Sorry, guys.
Casted by Monty. No, thank you for that. That's good. That's who we are. Yes. So Spain now on the offense. All they really need to do is take that point B, and they'll win this whole match.
The Point Bay, is that your sweetheart point there, Doa?
That sounds like a anime fan club sitcom or something. Point Bay.
Wow, that would I would never watch that show.
Sure, that's what you say.
That is definitely what I say.
I know how things really are, Monte Cristo. Well, Spain, we'll see if they can come through. This has certainly been a closer match than we saw yesterday, as far as Brazil running into Sweden.
I'm just happy we're seeing Soulive on the Genji again, especially at the close of that last point. You can see how fast he was getting his ult charges up, how much more effective it is when his team plays around the Genji, tries to nano boost Soulive, and that was the thing that almost pushed them through to the double capture.
Yeah. All right, well, here we go. Spain on the offense now. All they have to do is take both points, point A and B, and they can win this match. We'll see if they can do it. Pescanova back on the Pharah this time around, taking that high ground, going aggressive as Winghaven dives in on that Winston, or dives in rather. Hopefully not dies in, not quite yet anyway. Pescanova dropping back. Next Stage very low on the Reaper. One more shot should do it, and he gets him. Already a good start here for Spain as they are all over point A. Looks like Brazil falling apart pretty quick, honestly.
Yeah, and great accuracy from the Rockets that we were seeing coming in here from Pescanova. And even though Line Pro died early on in that fight to next stage Reaper, not enough. The support players continued to push forward, and there you go.
He was so ready, man.
Yeah, definitely ready for the drop down there from the Reaper. He's not close to the Death Blossom, but still a threat. And now they're going to wait. Spain, they can build up just a few more ults right now, a few more percent. They can get the Nano Blade combination, and that should be the go button right here. Once Genji gets closer to his ultimate, there we go.
Yeah, he has it now. Neptuno pulling out the Dragon Blade, takes out Edu immediately, looking for a kill in the next stage. Hugo has to go to Wraith form to try to stay alive. Graviton Surge used by Spain, though. That may lock a few people up. We'll see if they can take the point right here. It's a good start. And Kaio very low on that Reinhardt. Yeah, that's a clean fight for Spain. Only a couple people left. Pescanova drops that barrage, trying to finish off the rest of the Brazilian team. Spain getting some time with the point. They're going to take at least 2 ticks from this, and they may have it right here. And they almost do. Brazil comes back on at the last minute. They've got the Diva, they've got the Tracer. They're trying to keep the point alive. This is not just a point, this is their tournament on the line practically. And Spain looking for this finish here on Temple of Anubis, that it looks like they may have to wait a little bit longer as Brazil may be able to barely hold with this nano boost on Flaws.
Wow, the Diva getting in there at the last second, so the swap over to the Diva, able to boost in, makes a world of difference here for Brazil as they're actually able to continue holding on to this point. Line Pro has to drop down. He's got to get out right now, but he's getting chased down by the Winston.
Yeah, it looks like he might be able to make it in the end, but still 5:40 left on the clock for Spain. So they've got nearly 6 minutes to take just 1 tick on point B. So one more good team fight would do it. Spain's still in great shape to take this match.
Yeah, they're going to have the nano boost up again quite soon. So just waiting for that, taking a bit of chip damage, healing it up with the Ana right now. And now they're going to go everybody into the point now for Spain.
Yeah, that's right. Dragon Blade pulled up by Neptuno yet again, and this is what got them so far last time. Looks like it's going to work again. 2 kills already. Bromos gets 1 onto Flaws. There's goes Kaio, and Spain just picking apart Brazil without any trouble at all, and that should be it. That's it. Spain takes Temple of Anubis, and they take the match 2-0.
I think Spain had some great patience there, using their ultimates, waiting for them to build up, good communication and coordination on how they were going to use those attacks. First one didn't work out, just barely, not capping the point by a hair thanks to the Diva swap, but then they come back. They built up their ults again during the course of that fight, so it's only a matter of waiting for those few percentage points, making sure that you have that patience, and then committing once again, and just getting that very last tick completed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Spain really looking on point today. I loved how Winghaven immediately on that point B jumped up to that second level. He was right there when the Reaper teleported his way up there. You knew exactly what was going to happen. And so there you go. I mean, Spain making it look, you know, I wouldn't say making it look easy, but making it look fairly smooth anyway in that win over Brazil.
Smooth indeed. Well, Brazil, they're probably out of the Overwatch World Cup at this point in time.
Probably.
Spain's hopes are still alive for making it to the quarterfinals. Of course, we will still have one more match from each of these teams tomorrow.
Well, that's going to be a good one too. I think that's going to bring us Spain versus Sweden, which should be definitely Sweden's biggest test so far in the tournament, and a good challenge for Spain as well. So to break down that match a bit more, let's head it over to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Doa and Monty. Great job in that match, and all credit to Spain there for some interesting choices and a strong performance.
Yeah, solid performance overall. I don't think we're too surprised at the result overall. I think it was an expected result, especially after Spain beat Canada yesterday. But some impressive performances overall, obviously looking towards Bromas, who had a lot of different heroes throughout that. Some things we're not used to seeing him on, like a Diva in there for a while. And also Harry Hook, obviously running that DPS role. Obviously, he's known as the support man. But this time around, in the DPS role for Spain, and pretty damn accurate.
I agree. Yeah, I think you brought up Bromas there as well. I also think, to be fair, Pescanova had some decent moments there as well. I mean, the fact that he's still playing Junkrat on the second phase defensively on Dorado, which is weak at the church and the high ground, that's a little bit weird to see that here. But I do want to highlight a little bit of the tank play in this series, Johnny. We were talking about it as well as we were watching it, especially Bromas, as was pointed out already, Lee, that we don't often see him on some of these picks. There is a replay here as well that we want to sort of talk around here. It's Bromas on Diva in Dorado, and we see that he's really facilitating a lot of the plays for Spain. Johnny.
Yes, it's very smart tank play here from Spain in this replay coming up. We see them play a Winston Diva composition, and they're basically trying to outsmart Brazil here. They create space, so much space with these tanks. So Pescanova looks great in this series on the Pharah because he has so much room to just lay on the rockets. You know, there's so much damage coming out from those rockets. And you have Harry Hook just sitting on that McCree, just doing a spectacular job with the Peacekeeper.
So, I mean, yeah, let's have a look at this replay. I just want to use this maybe as an illustrative fact here as well, because we're in Dorado now. I've got a pause here. This is while Spain are attacking. Now, Bromas, kind of rare to actually see him on the Diva at all. We talked about that. He's flexing a little bit now more than yesterday. Harry Hook on the McCree. By the way, this guy is nuts on McCree, averaging 66% accuracy. That's 1 in 3. That's 2 in 3 shots being hit for a McCree. Insanely good.
And he's a Lucio main.
Right, and he's a Lucio main, right? Blows my mind.
Yeah.
But let's have a look now. Bromas is on this Diva here, and notice what he does here with the defensive matrix, right? He puts it out in front of Harry Hook. He creates space for the McCree and also protects him so that he can get a fully charged Deadeye off without being taken down. Then jumps into the fight, creates even further space, and forces people away. Another replay here as well, which I do want to look at as we jump to the second map here as well, if we've got time to go over it. This is just after Spain's taken the first point. Now, Brazil struggled so much with Reaper when they were trying to attack, right? Every time they tried to push in, there'd be the Reaper, I think it was Neptuno, would always jump down behind them. Roll the replay, and this is how Winghaven deals with the Reaper setup. All right, so sees him push back, and now, of course, next stage can probably kill Winghaven at length, but it's risky, right? So you establish position already, you set up, and you make it so that the Reaper can't just jump down on you and actually stop you, because dealing with, you know, threats on, you know, front and behind when you're trying to push in is an incredibly oppressive thing to do.
And it's just impressive to see if you got these experienced players like Winghaven. You know, he's been in this situation many times where he tried to take the second point on Anubis, and he just identified that threat of the Reaper, and it's just the first thing he does. They capture the first point, they walk into Point Bay, as Dova referenced to it.
He loves that
and
point.
he just jumps up and just takes control of the point.
So I mean, here as well, a couple of plays for Solive. Honestly, I felt like he was forced to do a heck of a lot of work for his team.
Yeah.
I do want to point out as well that next stage having a really good Zarya game on that second map, but Solive here was called upon. I found it strange that Harry Hook stayed on the Tracer for as long as he did when Solive was obviously playing that McCree against him here. Peskanova's Pharah also with a huge amount of damage for Spain there on Dorado. Half the map he had almost 60% of the damage done for his team.
And I also like this Mercy pick. It's not something we touched upon, but when you have this Winston and Diva in your team, and Brazil's lineup doesn't even have anything to dive beyond those two tanks, you can just pull out the Mercy, you know? She's just standing in the back, healing everyone up, and she has that rest. And I mean, you saw yourself on the screen right there, the 4-man rest, you know? It's just, there's so much that can be done when you have that space created for you by the two tanks in Spain.
Talk to me a little bit about the Mercy pick as the solo support at the start of Anubis, though. That was the one time I think it did not work out for them fully.
It did not work out for them, but it was not to credit with the Mercy. I think it was because they had high ground, they had a plan with the Junkrat, you know, to spam out their opponents, and we saw them drop off that high ground, and I think that was mainly the issue on this first point here on Anubis.
Also as well, like you were playing up against a Widowmaker, so that's already going to have to keep you quite honest. You really, I mean, as Mercy, you don't actually have to zoom around the map too much, but as your formation gets broken and you're defending that first point, now as you move back here, if you're Mercy and you're trying to heal your team, that becomes a little bit trickier, especially when Solive is playing that Widowmaker. It will pick you off because Guardian Angel or sort of the slow descent that you have with the spacebar when you're holding it down as Mercy makes you the easiest target in the world for any half-decent Widowmaker.
Yeah, and if you lose that positioning, like we saw them on Dorado, have loads of space to work with this Mercy. They on Anubis instead just fall back, and you know it's easier to deal with that Mercy.
Yeah, for Spain going forward, it's looking good. When we talk about Pescanova, obviously this is a guy that's not known as the pro player. He's been a pro in other games itself, but even just looking at its highlight clip, you know, he's been playing Junkrat, he was on Pharah, he was on Winston for a while as well. He's jumped around a bunch of heroes, and it's actually so useful, especially for Harry Hook, who's obviously the man that's leading the team, for that he can rely on these guys to switch around as and when needed, so he can plan his strategies.
And as you noted, Mitch, 33% accuracy on Junkrat? That's not
actually,
bad at all.
that's actually not bad. Right?
Grenades,
so
yeah.
Obviously Junkrat is not the kind of hero you sort of play for accuracy. When I play McCree, I'm like hitting the tab all the time, like how am I doing? That's why I wanted to bring up Harry Hook. But with Junkrat, right, you do want to spam corners as much as you possibly can. You're not really trying to necessarily hit a target, but sort of force people back. And to reiterate, the fact that Pescanova is feeling confident enough to play Junkrat on the second phase of Dorado, where it's a little bit more open and there's multiple levels, that's normally where you swap away from a Junkrat. But what Spain were doing were pushing Brazil back so far that they had to filter through the gate and the smaller doors coming out from that first courtyard. So if you have the enemy team push back so far and you are playing so aggressive, then Junkrat can still be incredibly effective because it's impossible for tanks to egress through those entry points without taking a chunk of damage before even seeing the enemy.
Yeah, and I just want to say that I'm so impressed by Spain, that they're playing these niche picks like Junkrat, they're playing the D.Va, and even a Pharah. I mean, they're bringing out this a lot of strategy here, and it's just so impressive to see that they have such team coordination and they can make it work.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch, and I really appreciate all the games we had here today. Coming up next is a game that I am most excited for perhaps today. It's going to be USA and Germany. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back with that.